He is a legend in the Toronto market for sure, but all over the world. I want to introduce Anthony Lorio, good friend of Untraceable, the founder of Jax and Liberty, and co-founder of Ethereum, and Khaled, who will be doing a fireside chat with him. Sir.
Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Yeah, there it is. So thank you for coming out today and spending your time to be here with us. We really want to start off by really focusing on why you guys came here. Why are you here today, and what are you looking to get out of this conference? So tell me, why are you guys here?
Really, what's driven people to come out today? What is it that you were looking for in the conference today? Believe me, when one person puts their hand up, there's going to be a bunch that do it. Yes, sir. Learning about trading and decentralization. Cool. Who else? Yes, Kyle. All right. With those things, what are you going to do with those things? What's your plan? Here you go. Yes, sir. Supporting Toronto and what it's doing in blockchain. Cool.
Local market, okay.
Cal, why are you here?
Why am I here? I'm here to be able to not only support my dear friend here, Anthony, but to be able to connect with you guys and really talk about why we're here, which is the future economies. And I love that it's based around exactly where we're headed, which is the digital age. But we really need to focus on, as a species, how we're going to evolve in that digital age and what our next step is going to be able to prosper in that age.
Cool. The whys of why I initially got into this space was trying to advance, for me, freedom, trying to learn more about what it takes to bring people together. And it's been 6 years now that we've had Decentral running. We started in 2014. We're on their 6th year right now with what we've done with Decentral. There's been a lot of amazing things that's come out of there. The meetup starting in 2012, the events that we've done. Would love to really, really thank Tracy for putting on what she's done, the whole Untraceable team here. They've done a fantastic job to do. This is now becoming a pillar in Toronto for a technology event, and it's just been really phenomenal to do this and be part of this. And we've worked on conferences since 2014, me and her, and events, and it's just really great to see the amount of enthusiasm for it here. So, cool.
What we want to talk about is, obviously we're here to see where Decentral is going. You also mentioned, talking about trading, where crypto is heading. So I do want Anthony to kind of touch on that and what his plans are for the future for Decentral.
Sure. So we're going to have a couple things that people don't know are actually going to be happening during this talk. But as I mentioned, Decentral started January 1st, 2014. And for 6 years, I've been running events, working on Jax, which is our product. We got our whole team here from Decentral. But want to make an announcement today that I'm going to be stepping back from Decentral. And I'm going to be passing over the CEO role to Maggie Zhu. So I'd like her to come up and join us as well for this talk. And it's been something that we've been working on for the last year and a half, that I can focus on some different things and still be here to support her as a chairman role for both Decentral and Jax, but I've got a lot of confidence in her in the direction that she's going to take things. She's going to continue to work on the meetups, which we've kind of let pass over the last couple of years. But I know she's going to do an amazing job. I let her speak for a few minutes about what some of the things that she plans to do to take things where I really didn't think I could, whether it be raising capital, which is something I never wanted to do, doing things a more traditional company does, and now that I'm not going to be there doing it, she's going to be able to do things that are really going to help grow Decentral, grow the community here in Toronto, and grow Jax. So how about some thoughts about what you want to do?
So this was a surprise. He did not tell me that I'm going to be on stage. So everything I say right now is just from the bottom of my heart.
You'll kill it.
So I used to be a lawyer, grew up in the traditional family, and I joined the crypto space about 3 years ago. I've been with Decentral for the last 2 years. And the reason I joined was a smart contract. I thought it was such a brilliant idea when you can strike a contract with anyone in the world and there's no trust component because you believe that a program will just go and execute a code. But when I go and talk to my friends, people don't really understand all the technology underneath blockchain. It's kind of like us accessing internet without a browser, without that interface. It's hard for us to understand the technology. And that's exactly what Jax is able to provide. So Jax it started as a wallet. We have 500,000 users at our peak time, monthly active users. And these are the people all over the Middle East, all over Russia, all over US that are paying other people in crypto, paying their employees, or doing microtransactions. We're helping the women that can go now fund their own home business because they are able to do these e-transfers. And I feel so grateful to be able to work with our awesome team every single day.
Whole team over there from Decentral's all there. Yeah.
Thank you everyone for being such a good part of the team. And I think our product can empower a lot of people in the world, and that is the vision we want to go. We want to be that one blockchain app that people open up every single day because it has everything. It has the exchange. It's not just money, it's the digital asset. So your communication, all your browsing history, all of these. We're looking to integrate different partners. We're looking to raise money. We're looking to go out, do the bank. We will be doing local meetups probably sometime near the end of this year. And then once we have the formula figured out, we can replicate it around the world so that more people can learn about it, can really learn the benefits, and learn how it will impact their life. So that's just a very draft of our product roadmap right now. And if anyone don't have Jax Liberty on your phone right now, I recommend you go to the App Store. It's available on iOS, Android, Chrome, desktop, anything you imagine. It's free. And we're gonna have a lot more integration partners so that the next time you wanna pay someone or just earn crypto, you can use our app. It's all on the roadmap. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. So, the purpose of this talk was not really to talk too much about blockchain, so we're going to probably finish that. There's probably people that had a lot of, getting just bombarded with blockchain stuff all day. So, what we want to talk about, and what Cal and I want to talk about, and where'd she go? You could join us. Yeah, we got mics. Yeah, we got your mic over there. Yes. So, what we really want to talk about is, we want to talk about well-being and things over the last few years that have been a struggle when there's so much going on, and personally what I experienced with getting overwhelmed and having to reset myself and be able to take time off and going through these massive up cycles with taking on so many responsibilities and having to get just overwhelmed and reset and take time off and not want to speak to anybody. So over the last year, I've been really trying to figure out how I can keep a consistent balance with the things that I want to do. So recently, maybe it's been 10 weeks, I met Cal, and I've never met someone that's had such a big impact on my life with giving me energy and always about gratitude and love. So we want to talk a little bit about what we see in the future that's coming and what people need to do to really think about what their goals are and what they need to do to stay balanced in a world that is just exponentially technology taking off and very difficult for our brains that is not accustomed to this because we haven't had the millions of years of evolution to be able to handle the amount of bombardment of information and things that are coming into our lives. And it shows in areas with people with anxiety, with depression. Unfortunately, I've got a funeral to go to tomorrow with a friend whose 14-year-old nephew decided to take his own life last week. And I got to spend a full day tomorrow going through these things, and it's something that is very dear in my heart. I used to have depression. It goes in the family. And things that I've learned and things that have enabled me recently to really stay balanced and to be able to shift my focus towards, now that Maggie is taking over the company, my focus towards helping people and being of service to people and being a person that's going to bring balance to people's lives, and start my focus on doing more things that are going to be either charity focused or philanthropy focused. So that's going to be my main focus moving forward. So we want to just talk about some of our experiences, and to do that as well, I'd also like to call up my brother Elio. Where are you? Right over there. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be in the crypto space. He got me thinking about what money was back in 2011, and really digging into the history of money and why we need new systems to change the way that money is created these days. So also someone that's really focused on health, well-being. So I thought we'd have a general discussion, the four of us here, about things that we've learned and things that we do to try to help people to stay very balanced in this really crazy world that we deal in, how it is to find the meaning of really what you want to do, and then the why you want to do things. For me, it's about gathering wealth of information and resources to be able to do better things that are going to really advance the world and solve world problems. That's my goal with the things that I do. So you can't do anything without resources of wealth. You can't do anything without really learning how you can help people. But we see so many people around that are just on a track, but they're not sure really what they want to do. So the questions we start off with: why is it why are you here? What is it you're hoping to accomplish? And when you have that, what do you want to do after that? Is it about doing something that makes money that then you can help more people? Or is it doing something that you want more money because you want to buy things? And then, as I've learned over time, having more money and having more things leads to more problems and leads to less freedom. So for someone that's really started things to do for freedom, I found the last year that the more things that I got and accumulated was leading to less freedom for me. And it was really made me reset and think about why and the why of what I'm doing. So we're going to have a discussion just about what we've learned. My brother's going to talk about the things that he's been working on or has worked on for years about understanding that many people are overwhelmed, and there's things that we can do to try to help those people out. So we'll take a seat and just start talking questions. But hey, how are you?
Sure. Just thanked him for letting him know. He had no idea.
Neither
He's
did.
obviously surprised.
Neither did.
So kind of what Anthony was touching on, and a little bit what we started talking off with the future economies and where we belong as a species in that space. So our primitive brain is not able to keep up with how fast technology is moving. We do understand that we're moving in a direction of the way Maggie described it, of blockchain, where it's not just a currency transaction, but where it's a multifaceted base to offer different services, which is phenomenal. But a lot of stuff that's happening and where we're being educated, how do we deal with things like mental health, with our own physical health? And I'm not just talking about the body, we're talking about mind, body, and soul. And this is where Anthony and I really connected. He started telling me a little bit about his brother and some of the amazing things that he's done before. But if you don't mind, you just sharing with us, what you were doing with Enlightened Performers, and kind of the path that you took down there.
Well, I guess it was about...
Right up.
Sorry?
Right up.
So I guess it was about... really started in 2009 when we went to a yoga retreat in the Bahamas, and later that year we went to the pyramids in Egypt, and it really gave me an opportunity to slow down and to see how things can get built that stand the test of time and are built really, really slowly and with great care. There was no rush, and it just became something that became part of my everyday life, just understanding that as things move more and more quickly, if you try to keep up and go faster and faster, which is kind of inherently and intuitively what we're inclined to do, perhaps unconsciously what we try to do, that just gets you spinning and in motion more and more, and you don't have the access to your power because you're just not present. You're all over the place. You're worrying about next week, and you're thinking about what happened last night, and you're not there for what you have to do in the moment, whether it's with family or with work or just for yourself. And so it just became something that I don't like to preach. I don't like to go out and try to fix people, and I don't even like to go out and help people per se. I just like to be available to provide sometimes just a little bit of support, a little bit of whatever that somebody might need in a particular time. And the rest of the time, just focus on myself, just being the example of that, being calm, being in a present, slowed down, calmed down state that can help other people that are getting overwhelmed and feeling like they've got more on their plate with less time to deal with it. Help them to come back to their center and refocus, focus on the moment, and also focus on the big picture, realign their energy, and then go forward in a more constructive and synergistic way.
Love that. So, with kind of touching on that, some things that we've heard, Anthony's passion is focusing more on health and wellness and want to be of service of people. Something that we always talked about was, how to recenter yourself. The whole concept around it is if you're constantly distracted with everything that's going around you, you can't really be the most productive and efficient self because you're too busy distracted with essentially what's pulling your attention. That's why it's so important to first ask yourself, for example, when we asked the gentleman here at the front and the gentleman there why you're here, the reality is the answers were actually what. So we asked, why are you here? Well, I want to learn more about trading. That's a what. Okay, so example, why do you want to learn more about trading? I'm sorry? Okay, so you want to learn more about the people that are backing the coins? And why is that important? Perfect. And then once you figure that out, what's that going to do for you? Perfect. And understand where the company is headed, right? To find personal success. To find personal success. Why is personal success important to you? And the best part is you don't have to necessarily know your why right now. The point that I'm trying to get at is you need to peel back the layers like an onion, right? To start understanding truly why you're involved in the space and then find your positioning in the space. Because if you just keep chasing your what, eventually when you get there, you're going to stand and be like, okay, well, what's next? Right? When we talk about motivation versus discipline, motivation is ran off emotion. It's eventually going to run out. But when you're disciplined, because you understand your real why, the days that you don't want to get up and do something, what's going to get you to stay on track is going to be your discipline. And your discipline is going to come from finding out your real why. So ask yourselves those questions, get down to the true cause of why you're involved in the space, and then you'll be able to better understand how you're going to play a role in it. Okay?
Not just even why you're involved in the space. What's your overall why? That's what we want everybody to think about today. What is it? What's your thing? Is it to make money? But then you make money. Then what do you want to do? And I think it comes back to some greater good of, okay, I've been able to accumulate wealth of information, wealth of knowledge, and now how do we activate that for the greater good of people? And that's kind of where I am right now. My plan is to leave the blockchain space right now and start focus on problem solving, start focus on world problem solving things. How can we be of service now with what we've learned with the entrepreneurial mindset to solve some of these world problems? And that's really where my mind is setting towards and where I'm going towards. So we want to get everybody thinking about it. What's really the why of what you're doing? And could it be something beyond, this is why I think I'm doing it, but then why am I doing that? And what's the overall goal that you really want to achieve? And generally people, it's about, I want to make money. Great, but then what? How am I going to do something that's going to really be really impactful? How do we move in the terms of my friend Brock Pierce from compounding interests and why you want returns on things to compounding impact? How can you create amazing impact for people, for the planet, and all the things you're doing? So, Maggie, what are some of the things that you do with your whys, or with your, how do you deal with the, you know, the pressures of what you have? What are some of the things you do to relax?
Okay, so for me, I grew up in a very traditional family, and it's always about doing well in school, living up to the expectations of my parents and everyone around me, my teachers. What really threw me under the bus was in law school, we started having these 8-hour classes, and then we started going to the library for another 4 or 5 hours. So every day was literally studying, sitting, and then sleeping. And that had a huge impact on my health. And how I got out of it was meditation and yoga. It's, thank you. So what I realized afterwards is there's a lot of ups and downs in life. If you think about it, you know, a lot of times we're just chasing after that thing that everyone else wants us to have. And how I learned to stay grounded is to spend some time by myself every day. It could be 10 minutes when I wake up, it could be 10 minutes before I go to sleep. I'll write my little journal, or it could just be meditation. But it's just time for me, for myself. And I think the love for myself is able to allow me to sustain the love I have for my family, for my loved ones, and for everyone else. So that's how I stay balanced.
Al, how do you stay balanced, or do you need to, or is it a gradual thing, or something you do every once in a while?
So I guess getting back to what I was talking about earlier about just slowing down and being present, one of the things I've found over the years when you talk to people about meditation is that it's like it's the goal. So you meditate, and you sit there and you meditate, and you just sit there for a long time and you meditate. And to me, how I like to think of meditation is that it's actually practice for living in present time all the time. So you don't want to compartmentalize it to, you know, half an hour, or 3 or 4 times a week. You want to be able to be in that present time state all the time. So the easiest way I find to do that is with the breath. Just remember constantly throughout the day, just take a breath and just get back into the body. Just relax, drop the shoulders, and just kind of do a quick little reset. And I mean, yeah, it's great to take, you know, a day off and half a day off here and there to just, you know, get out in nature and put your feet in water and that kind of thing. But you don't always get that time every single day, but you can always turn around, take a breath, relax, check in with your energy, get your energy to where you want it to be, and then go forward into the next thing that you're doing. So it's really using meditation not as more as a tool to connect you with your power, and then direct it where you want it to go, and then go forward knowing that you're going forward consciously in the direction you want to be going in, and it brings a coherence to your life, because intuitively you get guidance, you get direction, and you see, maybe not today or tomorrow or next week, but then you see the synergies happening weeks and months and even years down the road. I mean, you see them all the time and you can trace them. Like I said, for me it kind of started in 2009, but it didn't start in 2009. I mean, that's one point I can look to where something significant, choices that we made to focus on things and to go to certain places, but you know, it's an infinite evolution from time you're born and from other lifetimes. For myself, earlier around the year 2000, I started to get into politics, and my history was being in politics and government and being a municipal councillor and being involved with the Green Party of Canada. And you know, back then, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but in 2006, there were no smartphones. In 2005, you couldn't get a reusable shopping bag at a grocery store. They just shoved plastic on you all the time. And it just, I started waking up to these things thinking, this just can't be right. There's no way that we can just keep unconsciously putting all this waste, all of this, in a lot of cases, non-biodegradable, toxic, but it's everything, it's everything that we're doing. There's the way we use energy, the way we look at energy, the way we look at food, and I got, again, synergies and going back to things. Back then when I was on Richmond Hill Council from 2003 to 2006, I was the council liaison to the Youth Action Committee, which was kids from all over Richmond Hill, from high school and elementary school, that got together and we talked about kid things, and we did, the Santa Claus parade, and we did events for kids. Tracy and her sister Laura were both on that Youth Action Committee back then. They were in high school, and that's how I originally knew Tracy from. She came out and wanted to get involved in her community and to do things. She was 16, 17. Now, all these years later, I look up on the screen and she's doing biodegradable cutlery. She's doing compostable coffee. She's doing blockchain tracing of products, whether it's food or whatever other items that she's got here for the conference. She's doing it like a micro case, where this conference is like a little community where it's a test case for these things and showing how it can all work together. So, I was super inspired to see her kick off the day like that with that showing all of what she's doing, what they're doing here with this conference. And to me, that's a big part of my why, and my what is to support those kinds of things. Like, you never know the impact of the things that you're going to do, and you just do what you feel is what needs to be done, not for ego and not for anything else, but for the right reasons. And after a while, you'll develop this sense, this faith that it does come back. It comes back in orders of magnitude greater than you would have imagined.
Cool. All right. I want to ask one thing to Cal here. Pull is something, positivity, optimism, love is something that we talk about a lot, and that's kind of how we drive every type of interactions with anybody. We drive it from positivity, optimism, and love. So I want him to talk a little bit more about what that means to him, and it's something that I do with everything now. Every engagement with somebody, looking at it from the idea of love, throwing gratitude as well, and then respond to a situation, and it really changes your perspective and the energy of what the person has. So how did you come up with that? What is that?
So the common theme here is you're centering yourself. And we briefly touched on early on, as we move further into this digital age, where anything that can be put in an algorithm is going to be taken over by a machine, an AI. So how do we thrive in that kind of world? What we have left is going to be creativity and emotional intelligence. That's something that can't be replaced. So to be creative, you need to be the best version of yourself. You need to allow yourself the space to be able to think outside the box. And you'll be able to do that once you center yourself and understand your own emotions. So the concept of meditation is simply being able to assess how you feel in the moment. That's what being present is. How do I feel right now? You don't need to understand why it's happening, but just being able to assess that emotion. As you're able to understand yourself and how you feel, you can then connect with others. So thinking about that, and thinking about emotion, thinking about energy, because that's what we're all made up of, the frequency that we let out is exactly what's going to speak back to us. So the concept is, if you're constantly in a state of positivity, optimism, and love, that's exactly what you're going to get in return. You don't have to necessarily, the end result, like he mentioned, was you start now. You might not see it today, you might not see it tomorrow, but the frequency that you let out is exactly what you're going to get in return. So with every situation, if it be professional, personal, whatever it may be, center yourself. Start with having a positive, optimistic, loving mindset, and then approach it. And from personal experience, ever since I've applied that, life has been fantastic. Anthony touched on something very, very important, which is gratitude. Sometimes we get caught up in what's happening, and we're so quick to look at the cup half empty. But if you really take a step back and assess what you have going on in your life, like, how lucky are we? So it's so important to walk in with that mindset and send the frequency out, send that energy out, and the world will speak back to you in the same way every single time.
All right, we got 30 seconds left. Want to let everybody know we're going to be around for the networking event that's coming up right after. I think there's one other announcement they're doing for the decentralized dance party if they haven't already done it yet. But after that, I think there's a networking event for everybody. So we'll be around for the next couple hours. If anybody wants to chat about this, we didn't get the questions today, but we'd love to just stick around and speak with people if they have any thoughts on what we're doing. But thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for the whole crew that came down with us, my parents, my brother, my sister, everybody's down here today. Big instrumental part of my life, of what everybody's done. The people that have done it are meetups for years and years for Decentral and supporting it. And I hope everybody gives their support to Maggie as she takes over this stuff forward for Decentral Jax. Thank you so much for all coming here.